By the way, you put the paper you read by Savak, was that a paper written by Nasiri or Parviz Sabeti, or who was it?
Has no author. That was definitely, I think that was a teamwork and was written for
some of the Savak members were also not happy with the Shah not being too aggressive with the two-day party and not too aggressive with Khomeini. Some of the Savak members were like, we got to take that guy out, right? You know those stories where, the Shah didn't think Khomeini could have that much momentum and power until he started seeing all the tapes, the millions of tapes being spread in Iran, and those tapes getting people to listen to what Khomeini was saying. They're like, wait a minute, maybe we need this guy over here. The tapes were very effective. The tapes at the time were what social media is today. You know that.
Yeah. My voice is at the beginning of the tapes of Khomeini.
You're kidding
me. No. Whenever he talked, first of all, at the first days, he talked every night. And he started to say bullshits, by the way.
Like what?
Every night he was talking about, when you want to talk every night, he did not have so much ideas to talk every night. He was talking about the previous constitution and very boring one. By the way, one of the top clergy, Murtaza Motahari, when he came to Nofle Chateau, he recommended him that, Mr. Ayatollah, talk only once a week. And every Sunday, he talked about an hour or less. And when we took Masood Manian, one of my friends over there, was in charge of that, taped him. And we took that tape, the mother tape, and my voice was at the beginning of that Sukhanrani Qaid Azam Imam Khomeini.
On every tape?
Every tape, yeah. I said that the speech of...
Are you serious? You're the first voice in every tape that caused the revolution?
Yeah, that was not the only cause of the revolution, but that was my voice over there. That I said that Sukhanrani Qaid Azam Imam Khomeini, Nofle Chateau, then the date. And then that one was duplicated 1 to 3. We had a small box tool and produced it 1 to 3, then sent it to Iran by phone, because one of the engineers two engineers actually in telecom of Iran opened the international line every night for 1 hour, and through the mullahs sent it to their friends in Rome, and then in Iran it was duplicated and distributed amongst the people. On those days, the tool was tapes, cassette tapes, and radio, shortwave radio. BBC was listened by the people.
You just validated my point. Meaning, to be able to get everybody brainwashed, you guys did it successfully. So you get credit for running one of the best viral campaigns ever.
Really?
Really? You know what you did? You're laughing.
No, I say that I don't like the word of brainwash for a nation. This is what I oppose you. I say that
not liking it doesn't mean it's not true.
People listen to that and make their decision.
No.
When you have majority of people, people listen to the documents. Maybe later, about the President Trump that you say. I'm a historian.
Okay.
So history is nothing but facts.
I have not necessarily. Not necessarily.
No,
not necessarily. It's who's writing the history that controls the power. There's a quote. What is this quote? There is a very, very powerful quote about what you just said. And by the way, continue. I'm going to find this quote. Please, go for it.
Yeah, I mean,
you're a historian.
When you are a historian,
right?
I know about the philosophy of history, methodology of history. Yes, you can. The historian can choose the facts and make the story of an event. But when you say something, maybe now I say something and have some facts about that. But after a while, at least 35 years later or 50 years later, because that's a generation in history, 35 years. And 50 years is the time that we historians say that now a historian can go to an event, join the history. The documents come out, the memoirs come out, many other things that people don't know about that. When they come out and historians go collect them, write it down, then the real event gradually will be appeared, like a submarine that comes out of the water. So I mean about you mentioned President Trump is close to Russia or have some relationship with Putin oligarchy, maybe. I have read it in 2 books, as I said, written by 2 researchers, that in 2003, 2004, money laundering was done by President Trump through the, housing projects or in Atlantic City or other places. That's just it. You asked me, do you believe? I said, no. Why? Because I should wait as a historian. I don't think that right now we don't have, if there were any documents about that, definitely FBI and the other agencies could discover that. But if you want to judge, have good judgment and say that is it true or not, I think that you should wait at least 35 years or 50 years from now to everything will be gradually come out, and then the future historians can write about that.
I found this.
This is what I say about the Islamic Republic as well. Islamic Revolution now 46 years ago. Now it is going to join the history. Regime of Shah has joined the history too. And many documents have been published. Memoirs of President of the U.S. or Prime Minister, Foreign Minister, and on Iranian side, like Rafsanjani memoirs or Yazdi or the others. And many documents have been published from foreign ministries of these countries, was released, and a part of the secret services have been released.
Nobody trusts the Secret Service. Are you kidding me? We had 51 Secret Service intelligence officers signed off saying there's nothing in the Hunter Biden laptop, and we find out what it was to the point that Biden had to pardon his entire family and everybody else. No one. So to me, where you're going with this, sometimes people, my experience, people who are such scholars and educators, they are in such a big box that they don't see the 3-dimension. And that may offend you. I understand. It was intended to offend scholars. I'm not saying it in a way to try to make friends. Sometimes there's a box, okay, that people have. They're living in a box. There's the quote that I was referencing. History is always written by the winners. The two cultures clash.
That's the sentence of Hitler.
The loser is obliterated, and a winner writes the history books which glorify their own cause and disparage the conquered foe. As Napoleon once said, what is history but a fable agreed upon the Da Vinci Code, right? Here's how simple it was for me. Imagine if Kamala Harris wins. Okay, let's just kind of play this along.
By the way, Napoleon, maybe he thought about himself something else. But now, after 200 years...
Well, because he lost at the end.
More than even the winners. Winston Churchill is the winner of the war, okay?
Yeah.
Now we can judge about Churchill, what he has done. Many documents have been published, his weaknesses, what he lost in World War I, what he won in World War II.
No, but what I'm saying is
I want to defend the historians, by the way.
I don't, by the way, respect to the historians, it's very important, but all I'm saying is who are historians reading? It's selective. If I just sit there and read Karl Marx and all those guys, okay, am I going to study the historians based on the facts from a leftist book recommendation? Because both the left and the right can give a top 100 book recommendations to give. And I'm going to see it on this side. I'm going to see it on this side. There's some biases there. But all I'm saying is if Kamala Harris would have won in 2024, let's just say she wins, Obama would have been able to come out and say 2016 when Trump won was a fluke. He got lucky. And what he says, nobody's interested in what MAGA's interested in. Let's just say. and they would have destroyed his legacy, is what they would have tried to do, okay? And we would have to sit there and say, no, DEI is, that's what we got to do, Mohsen. No, transgender, LGBTQ, that's what we have to teach to our kids, right? No, guess what? We have to do all this other, no, these guys, and they would have had that chokehold on everybody. This was about to be a revolutionary era for us, and all I'm saying to you is, when you go back, and I like what you just said right now, you said if after 35 years, you're going to be able to recite history and see what happened. You know what we do know between the two? From the person that started IRGC, yourself, with the Khomeini together, an organization that at the time you thought you were helping Khomeini because you thought he was a good guy. Took you less than 10 years to realize this guy's not a good guy because you were in your early 20s. You said that yourself. And you were one of the students that was protesting against the Shah because you wanted to get rid of the Shah. You succeeded. The tapes worked on you. You were in the sounds of those tapes. Tens of millions of people listened to those tapes. Fantastic. Fast forward to 2025. All the shit they said about Mohammad Reza Pahlavi and how noble Khomeini was, now we have data. Now we can see how chaotic it was in the Middle East under Khomeini and his regime and Khamenei, and we know how things were under the Shah. There is plenty of data to be able to say only this many people died when he and his father were there. Oh, Reza Khan was a terrible man. He was a dictator and a half, and the enemies feared him, and he was just such a... Fine. I'd much rather have a guy like that on my end if we're somewhat at peace. Oh, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, all he cared about was the money and da-da-da-da-da and all the, his castle and all this stuff that he built. Education improved, middle income improved. Maybe he was a little bit too ambitious. Maybe you're right. Maybe if he had cancer, he needed to expedite the process of replacing himself with somebody else. Maybe he should have done that. I think that's a very good point you're making. With whom? I don't know. His son was a little too young. Maybe he was waiting behind closed doors for a few more years. We don't know that. But the reality of it is right now, Israel, Hamas, Middle East, Afghanistan, Iraq, Iran, all of that is with the help of whoever helped Khomeini to come back in with IRGC and Iran, all that stuff. Iran produced chaos in the Middle East. That part cannot be disputed. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair.
So
let me say, first of all, Reza Khan or Reza Shah, in my view, was a genius. By the
which
way.
one? Both of them or
Reza Shah, the
father? Yeah.
He was a genius. Although he was illiterate and was not educated, but you can see from the history right now that he was a genius. And second, this is what I say about history. Maybe when you are living right now, you have some judgments about Trump, Harris, or in my era, Khomeini, Shah. But when it passes 45 years from that era,
sure,
and I compare Shah with Khomeini, let me say my judgment now, that many documents have come out. For instance, on those days, opposition claimed that 100,000 political prisoners Shah has. There are 100,000 political prisoners in Iran. That was false.
It was only 3,000, 3,500.
3,000, few hundred.
Right.
Now that if I compare Shah with Khomeini, definitely, I already said. First of all, his personality, Shah, was a better guy than Khomeini. First. Second, what he did for Iran, because that he believed in, modernization of Iran, was definitely better than Islamic Republic. As I said, that if you tell me that you have only two choices, a military dictator like Shah, but want to modernize Iran, and a religious regime like Islamic Republic, and a guy like Khomeini or Khamenei, which one do you choose? You have no other option. I say, okay, definitely I choose a military dictator that wants to modernize Iran. But we found out, now that we go back, and look at what happened in Iran, I can say that if Shah was more Democrat, if Shah, let me say something, quote you. When I was in Iran and I went to different universities, I had lots of lectures and classrooms for students. That was the reasons, one of the reasons that they arrested me. Once in the University of Kerman, I said to students in auditorium, maybe 1,000 students were over there. I said that if I had my today knowledge at the days of Islamic Revolution, which is impossible, but suppose that I had that knowledge and that wisdom, then on 1977, when Shah started a little changes in his regime, I definitely recommended him that, Mr. Shah, now that you are going to remove Hoveida and want to bring Amuzegar to power, this is a reform in your regime. Inject some other things in your reform injection. Open the prisons. Let the political prisoners come out, not the terrorists, but the ordinary opposition. Go for a free election. Let them run for a free election. That he already did it in 1960. And because that he knew that had cancer, I said to students that I was volunteered to write his speech as well, to say to the people that, okay, I'm ill. I wanted to do for you the best, people of Iran. Now I'm dying. This is my son and the Council of Monarchy. They run the country, and so open the doors a little bit. And I said that, do you know what happened if he did that on 1977? Millions of people came to streets and said that, oh, don't go. We forgive you for whatever we have heard about you. But he, even until November 1978, he still was not, thinking that he can, for instance, talk about Mossadegh or accept until, December or January 1978. I mean, yes, if you are comparing these two regimes, definitely regime of Shah was more successful and had more benefit for the people of Iran. Why? Because wanted to modernize Iran. What was the big mistake? I think that democratization. You can't have economic development.
That's a fair assessment.
If you don't have any political development,
right?
Social and cultural development.
No, that's a fair assessment. I think you've made a few very good points. If you knew you had cancer 73, 74, and the only people that know, maybe your wife even didn't know for a while, maybe you had to kind of have a plan. Maybe he had a plan in his mind that didn't happen fast enough. Maybe he was waiting for his sons to be ready for it. I don't know. Maybe he was afraid of opening it up. Those things, Zaheri's written about it. I'm sure you know who I'm talking about, when the ambassador. A lot of people have written about it. Nowadays, more than ever, the brand you wear reflects and represents who you are. So for us, if you wear a Future Looks Bright hat or a Valuetainment gear, you're telling the world, I'm optimistic. I'm excited about what's going to be happening, but you're a free thinker. You question things. You like debate. And by the way, last year, 120,000 people got a piece of Future Looks Bright gear with Valuetainment. We have so many new things. The cufflinks are here. New Future Looks Bright. This is my favorite, the green one. Just yesterday, somebody placed an order for 100 of these. If you watch the PBD podcast, you got a bunch to choose from. White ones, black ones. If you smoke cigars and you come to our cigar lounge, we have this high quality lighter cutter and a holder for the cigars. We got sweaters with the Valuetainment logo on it. We got mugs. We got a bunch of different things. But if you believe the future looks bright, if you follow our content and what we represent with Valuetainment, with PBD Podcast, go to vtmerch.com. And by the way, if you order right now, there's going to be a special VT gift inside just for you. So again, go to vtmerch.com, place your order, tell the world that you believe the future looks bright. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.